Good evening and welcome. So, I am so excited that you all have joined this webinar. Now, I hope my voice is coming through. If my voice is coming through, would one of you please type a yes in the chat? Just want to make sure. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. And in the course of the next 60 minutes, I am so excited to be sharing many things from many years of my learnings. We are going to learn, you are going to walk away with how you can focus and how you can concentrate. So we'll spend the next 60 minutes specifically on that topic, and over the next 60 minutes I want to get to know each and every one of you more. Even though I cannot really see you, I really want to get to know you. So I will start off from my end. I am from Hyderabad and I'm curious, where are you all from? Would you share with me where you are from? I'd like to know. Sharon from Kerala, Hyderabad. Teja, I'm from Hyderabad too. Aligarh, Coimbatore, Bihar, Chennai, Kolkata. Great. Delhi, Dubai. All the way from Dubai. That's wonderful. Mumbai, UP, Andhra, Vellore. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. It is indeed a great opportunity for you and I to connect in this way. And uh, I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you, and I acknowledge each and every one of you for being here at this time at 9 o'clock uh, on a weekend, on a weekday rather. I know you could have been doing any number of things, but you have chosen to be here in this webinar along with me, and I deeply appreciate that. And on my part, I want to make sure that the time that you spend here is well worth it. So, those in the webinar, I'm just curious. I always want to know my audience. How many of you have seen me before? Is this the first time that you are seeing me? I'm launching a poll here. The poll is launched. Tell me if Venkat, if this is the first time that I'm seeing you, uh, click on the first option. If not, click on the second option. A or B, A or B, and I am ending the poll right now. Okay, so a good 90% of those of you here are seeing me for the first time, and I thank you very much for that. You have chosen to invest your time in listening to me. And 10% of you who are seeing me for the second time, welcome back. Like I said, on my part, I want to make sure that each one of you is spending your time and will walk away from this webinar feeling that every minute of your time here is well spent. But I cannot do it alone, ladies and gentlemen. I need your cooperation. I need your cooperation in three ways. One, the first commitment, since we are talking about focus and concentration, I want you to be fully focused and concentrating on this webinar. The second is I want you to be fully engaged. By fully engaged, what I mean is whenever I prompt you to type something in the chat, like I just did a minute ago, do type in the chat. Whenever I ask you to participate in some poll, do that, and I will take you on some inner journeys as well. So I want you to be fully engaged for you to gain the maximum benefit out of this 60 minutes of time that we are spending together. And the third guideline is for you to be present in this webinar until the very end. Now, if you do all of this, if you commit to all of this, which only is for the next 60 minutes, I guarantee that you are going to walk away with something very valuable, because just the fact that you are sitting here in this webinar tells me something about you. It tells me that you want to invest your time in learning new skills, in taking your life to the next level. So why don't you and I make a deal? And the deal is that you are going to commit to these three things. That is, you're going to focus and concentrate on this webinar, that you're going to engage, and that you're going to stay here until the end. So if this is a deal, please type D in the chat, D, so that I know that you are making a deal with me. I see a number of D's coming in, and I thank you. Thank you so much for making that deal with me. All right. And I see the responses from Facebook and YouTube as well. So let me now turn off the chat. What it means is that you can still write to me, but only I will see the messages, not everyone. So I want to keep you focused and concentrated on this webinar. So with that, let us now delve into the subject. But before we do that, let us take a overall look at our lives. Our lives are composed of so many facets, so many aspects, isn't it? One, there is a personal life, there is a family life, there is a professional life, there is a financial life, there is a social life, so many aspects to our life, and each part of our life is dependent and independent of the other aspects as well, but mostly it is dependent. Given that we have so many areas in our life, let us only focus on two of these areas because they are very closely interrelated. Of course, all of the areas are very interrelated, but more particularly, let us take professional and financial life, and narrowing it down even further, just let us focus on the professional life. Now, all of us have dreams of aspiring. I'm assuming that many of you are in some kind of a profession or in some kind of a business, and all of us, I know we are all aspiring to reach that higher level in our profession or in our line of work or in our business. And I say that because, like many of you, I actually used to be in the professional field. Yeah, even though I might look different now, but I was actually a software engineer. I worked as a software engineer for 18 years when I was working in Silicon Valley in California, USA, from 87 to 2005. And I worked across several high-tech companies. In fact, one of my job positions was at Sun Microsystems back in 1996. And I'm very proud of this accomplishment. I was a member of the team that originally created and developed the Java programming language back in 1996. I used to be a professional like many of you are at this moment, and I know what it takes to climb up the professional ladder. So let me ask you, for you to climb up in the professional ladder, I want you to let me know what you think are the most important factors. I'm going to open the chat in just a second, but just think about it. Is it your skill set, or is it your education, or the knowledge, practical knowledge, the contacts that you have? Many factors that help us advance in our communication skills, many factors that help us advance in our professional world. So I am opening the chat. Share with me what you think is most important for you to take that next step in your professional life. I see skill set and network skill, communication. SM is saying you also want to become a software engineer. Great. Education, discipline, skill set and knowledge, skill. Great. Education. Thank you. Thank you everyone for engaging. Wow. Look at that. All right. Good, good. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, all of these things are extremely important. They are all important. Absolutely agree with you. Now, remember what you typed in the answers in the chat, because we are going to circle back. We are going to come back to this point again. But before that, let us do a simple visualization where we leave these normal planes of consciousness. I want you to pay close attention to this. We are now going to leave this plane of consciousness and enter into the realms of possibilities. So follow my instructions for the next few minutes. I want you all to sit comfortably with your back straight. Remember, we made a deal that you are going to engage with me. So here is the journey that we are going to go on. Sit comfortably. Make sure that your shoulders, your face, your neck are completely relaxed. Your body is completely relaxed. Take a deep breath in and exhale, letting go of any stress, any worry. Now, I want you to close your eyes. No peeping, just close your eyes and take a deep breath one more time. Inhale, taking in that energy from the universe, and exhale. And as your awareness is on your breath, I want you to firmly plant your feet to the ground. Visualize that there are roots extending from the bottom of your feet all the way to the center of the earth, anchoring you firmly in the chair. Visualize that the roots that are extending from the feet, from your feet, which are planted firmly on the ground, are circling around in the center of the earth, so that you're anchored to the earth. You're held by Mother Earth firmly in your chair. Now take another deep breath in. Exhale, knowing that your body is safe and secure. Let your spirit rise above your body, still with your eyes closed. Your spirit is now hovering above your body. And now visualize that there is a timeline between where you are in the present to all the way into the future. A timeline. And now you are free to travel along that timeline between the present moment and any time in the future. You can hover along the timeline. And I want you to travel to a point which is the peak, which is the pinnacle of your professional life, of your career, of your business, or your line of work. Go to that point which is the pinnacle. And I want you to visualize what is your pinnacle like. Suspend all questions from your conscious mind. enter into the realm of possibilities. If nothing was impossible, what would you like your peak of your career, of your profession to look like? Would you want to have a company of your own, a startup of your own, or you want to become the CEO of a company, or you want to publish a successful book? Do you want to be a researcher that wants to be known around the world? In the realm of possibilities, what does your spirit call you for? And how does that make you feel? What do you see yourself earning in financial terms? Just feel, make that into a reality in this moment. And that vision that you have of where you would want to be at the pinnacle of your professional life, plant that in your heart, knowing that it is a definite possibility as long as you take action. Internalize that. Now take another deep breath in, inhale, exhale, and let your spirit hover back gently on the timeline, back to the present moment. And now your spirit is above the body. And now quickly and easily come back into the body on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Come into, still with your eyes closed, come into awareness with my voice, knowing that you have taken a time travel. Now, with a feeling of energy, with a feeling of raising that vibrations, gently open your eyes, feeling refreshed, feeling vibrant. This was a journey along in the realm of possibilities. How was your journey? If you want to share in the chat, just one word or 2 words. How was it for you? Great. Awesome. Amazing. Wonderful. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing. So, what has that got to do with focus and concentration? Thank you all for sharing. The answers keep coming. All right. All right. Okay. So, what does that have to do with focus and concentration? It has got everything to do. So, for that, let us first understand 2 ways in which we can grow. We can either grow along a linear path or along a exponential path. Let us make that more clear. If we are growing on a linear path, see this graph, the straight line is the linear path. and the curved line is the exponential path. So I want to ask you a question. For you to reach that ideal state, I want to give you some thought. Before you answer, for you to reach that possible highest state, even if your mind is disagreeing that, hey, probably I cannot reach there, it is just a dream, it is just a dream, but for the moment just suspend every question that your conscious mind is raising, and ask yourself, for you to reach that highest pinnacle, would a linear path take you there, or do you need to take the exponential path? In the chat, type L or E. E, if you think the exponential path is the path to take, or L if linear path is going to take you there. And I see so many of you typing a E, and you all agree that what is really required is to take a exponential path. Great, thank you so much. And indeed, because our time on this earth is very limited. One day, each and every one of us, we are going to exit from this body. Our time is very limited, and we really need to take that exponential path in order to reach the pinnacle of where we want to reach and whatever we want to do in life. So let me circle back to the answers that you gave to my first question, which is the question that I had asked you was, what is most important for you to advance in your profession? And many of you said it is skill or knowledge or communication, education, contacts. Yes, I agree with all of those answers. All of those are absolutely necessary. But you know what is the underlying base for everything that you mentioned? It is a stable mind. What is most important for us to take that exponential path, in addition to most important, is focus and concentration. Because we can be having all the skill in the world, we can have wonderful communication skills, we can have everything, but if we are not able to focus and concentrate, it will still take us further, but along the linear path, not along the exponential path. So we want to talk about focus and concentration, and for us to delve into focus and concentration and how each one of us can imbibe that skill, we need to come to a common understanding. When many of you may be having different definitions of what is focus, what is concentration, or some of you might be thinking, well, what is the difference between focus and concentration? Don't they mean the same? So we all need to come to the same platform in order to understand. So let us define focus, let us define concentration. What is focus? Focus is the when we narrow down our attention to something. Narrowing, because our attention can be on 100 different things, but if we are able to narrow down our attention to one single thing, that is called focus. Just like you see in the graphic on the left, the sun rays are diffused, but if you hold a convex lens, it is possible for us to focus some of those rays into a single beam. So that is focus. But what is concentration? Concentration is if you are able to sustain that focus, if you are able to maintain that focus in an uninterrupted fashion until the task that you are doing is complete. If you are able to do that, that is concentration. So coming back to this example of a convex lens, if you just hold a convex lens, yes, momentarily it will focus the sun rays. Is that enough to accomplish the task? Suppose your task is to generate enough heat to burn the paper. Focus alone is not important. You have to hold it for the required duration of time so that you achieve the desired results. So both focus and concentration are required, right? Now, let us take another example. Right now, you're all sitting in this webinar, and in one sense, you're focused in the sense that, okay, you have devoted this 1 hour to be with Venkat and to learn something new. So there is a sense of focus in that. But if you will be concentrating only if you are completely in this webinar, present in this webinar, that is, your mind is not thinking about many other things, or if you are not getting distracted by the messages that are coming in, and if you are engaging fully with whatever exercises we are working through, that is when you would have concentration. So focus and concentration, right? So in order for us to go one level deeper into focus and concentration, we need to understand two more terms. The first term is mind, and the second term is awareness, because these have such a relevance to our ability to focus and to concentrate. So, what is mind? Of course, we all know, we all have this mind, this monkey mind, which is thinking so many thoughts, which is really with us all the time. Sometimes takes us in the positive direction because it can be our best friend. Sometimes takes us in the negative directions because it can be our worst enemy. Mind is indeed the most powerful instrument that we have. It is the most powerful, most highly evolved mechanism in this whole wide world, in this whole universe. And we have, fortunately, each one of us has access to that. So we all know about the mind, but what is awareness? Now, tell me, the mind is doing all of the thinking, it is experiencing all of the emotions, whether it is happiness or sadness. It is mind is the one. In the mind we are experiencing various things, whether it is our stress or anxiety, feeling many emotions. We are thinking our thoughts. We are doing so many things in the mind, or rather the mind is on an autopilot. It is doing so many things. But let me ask you this: is it possible for you to know, to observe what your mind is thinking, what your thoughts are, what your emotions are? In other words, is it possible for you to observe your own mind? If you think it is possible for us to observe our own mind, type yes in the chat. Type yes in the chat if you think it is possible for us to observe our own mind. And I see so many yeses coming in. Occasionally, I do see a couple of no's coming in. And for those who are typing in a no, let me just say, you are aware that you are sad. You are aware that you are happy, and happiness or sadness is being generated in the mind. So in other words, you are able to observe that you're sad, or comment or say I am sad, right? That itself is an observation. So I see many of you are saying yes, 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 yes. So good. Now that we all know that, let me ask you, okay, let me take you back, all the way back to our grammar school. You remember, in your minds, I want you to uh, see that English grammar teacher with probably a cane in the hand, teaching us the rules of grammar, writing on the board, hey, in a sentence, there is a subject and an object, mostly in most sentences, right? I want you to take you back to that. And the reason I want to take you back to that is because there is a relation. Let us take a very simple example. The simple example is the teacher is teaching the students. Teacher is teaching the students. In this sentence, there is a subject and an object. The subject is the teacher and the object is the students. Another way of looking at it is the object is being acted upon by the subject. Very simple, right? Now, when we say that I am able to observe my mind, what is the subject and what is the object? The object is my mind and the subject is I, right? In other words, we are not the mind because we are able to observe the mind. So who is that I? That I that we are saying is awareness. It is pure awareness. So awareness is the subject, mind is the object, awareness is the subject, thoughts are the object, awareness is the subject, emotions are the object. So there is a very clear difference between mind and awareness. We often identify ourselves with the mind, but we are not the mind. We are awareness. And the more we raise our knowledge about this, the more we come into consciousness about this, the more we are able to focus and concentrate. Because what is the relationship between awareness and mind and focus and concentration? Now, just for a moment, imagine that your mind is a huge mall, vast mall, and in that mall there are many different stores. There is this store on the ground floor that is selling happiness. There is that store in the distance that is selling sadness. There is that store which has all the lockers, which has all of your memory banks. There is that store with negative emotions like guilt or anger. There is that store with other positive emotions and incidents in your life, memories, everything, impressions in your mind. So let us just imagine your mind is that huge mall and you are the shopper and you're going from one shop to another. You have the absolute choice of which shop to visit, and whichever shop you visit, whether it is a shop that is selling emotions or sadness or happiness or a particular memory, wherever you visit, that is what you are going to experience. So in this analogy, that you who is shopping, going, visiting different areas of your mind which have different feelings, different memories, different emotions, the one that is visiting that is the awareness. And the more when we are able to put the awareness on a specific thing, if we are able to do that, that is when we know that we can concentrate. So if we are intentionally and consciously shifting our awareness to a specific thing and sustaining that awareness in that spot, that is the concentration. So shifting your awareness to a specific area is focus, and sustaining the awareness there until the task is complete, that is concentration. So focus and concentration, awareness and mind, when these concepts are very clear to us, we can now delve into, okay, many of you may be having the question, Venkat, okay, all of this is fine, well, but how do we actually learn how to focus and learn how to concentrate? So let me just engage with you for just a moment. Are you all with me? Type a yes in the chat if you are all still engaged and with me so far. And yes, 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 great. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Happy to see you all engaged. All right. So let us now learn. We will go into many depths of focus and concentration in the next several minutes. But let me ask you a question. We are we all know now that what is most important to take our propel ourselves on to the exponential path so that that thing that we visualized becomes a reality. What is required, most important thing is focus and concentration. So the question that I want to ask you, like I said, I want to get to know you, each and every one of you, better. Let me ask you, when you were a child, did your parents or did your teachers tell you to concentrate so that you can study better? And I don't want you to answer in the chat or anything. I want you to think about this question. Were you given, were you asked to concentrate? Or if you are a parent, do you tell your children, hey, concentrate so that you can come up in life? If yes, click on the first option. I have launched a poll, A or B, A or B. Great. If your parents told you to concentrate, A. If not, B. Okay, great. Let me end the poll and share the results. A good 82% of you have been asked to concentrate, or you tell your children how to concentrate. That itself tells me that we all know and understand the importance of concentration, right? So let me ask you another related question. Now, you may all know. Okay, here is the question. Have you formally learned how to focus and concentrate? A, yes. B, no. C, somewhat. By formal training and practicing of concentration in a very formal way, in a rigorous way, have you been taught how to focus? Because they tell us how to, they tell us to concentrate, but have you been told how to? Or do you teach your children how, this is how to concentrate better, this is how to focus better? Okay, let me end the poll and let me share the results. 63% no, 24% somewhat, and a minority, about 13%, yes. And congratulations to those who have formally learned how to concentrate and you're practicing concentration. But the takeaway is that the vast majority of us have not been given any formal training on how to focus and how to practice concentration. And that is so important because we become good at what we practice over and over again, right? Just look at who was in the news recently and just visualize how he might have gotten there. This is Neeraj Chopra. He made us all proud with the javelin throw. He got us the gold medal. How do you think he learned? He reached that pinnacle of success. The only way he reached that is because he learned how to throw the javelin, and he practiced over and over and over again until he became that world master. So, learning and practicing how to focus and how to concentrate, very important skills that we have not been to. Our schools do not teach us, and only the school of life teaches us that essential skill, and it is that skill that is going to really propel us forward on that exponential path. So we need to really learn and practice focus and concentration, which we are going to do right now. But for us, we need to understand a little bit more about the depths of our mind. Tell me, remember a few minutes ago, I was mentioning that we have a extremely powerful gadget, extremely powerful machine at our disposal. Remember that? What was the answer? It was our mind, right? Now, with that said, I want you to recall the time that you became very excited in purchasing that shiny, new, powerful gadget. Maybe it was a new iPhone, or maybe it was a that new laptop, or maybe it was that great bike that you ride. By the way, I am a biker myself. Uh, or maybe it was a time when you purchased that new car. I want you to think about that moment. And what did all of those come with? They came with a operating manual. And if we were new to that particular type of gadget, what did we do? We excitedly went through the pages of the manual until we learned how to use that gadget, how to use that instrument effectively, right? Now, our mind is even, billions of times of magnitude more powerful than the gadgets that we have access to. But do we have a manual? Have we really gone into the depths to see how we can master that? Because when we master this, we can go anywhere that we want to. Most of us, we do not have access to that operating manual, or more correctly, we do not really go through the operating manual of the mind. But you may be asking, Venkat, where is the operating manual for the mind? Well, the answer is we come from a tradition which has originated the most powerful spiritual sciences. Spiritual science is as real or more real a science than any of the other sciences like your physics or quantum mechanics or modern medical science or what have you. And this is we fortunately have the ancient yogic sciences, and yogic sciences have enunciated the principles of the mind, right? So let us go into the various states of the mind, and it is important for us to understand all of this, because in order to learn and master something, in order to learn and practice something, it helps us to get a better understanding. Okay, just like that when you're driving a car, there is the first gear and the second gear and all the way up to the fifth gear. We also need to know what are the gears of the mind, or rather what are the states of the mind. So let us look into the states of the mind, and this has been very clearly laid out in the ancient yogic sciences, right? So here are the 5 states of mind, and each and every one of us is in one of these 5 states of mind at all points of time. What are the 5 states of mind? The first state of mind is the Mudha state of mind. Mudha state of mind is a dull, tamasic state. The mind is in a state of inertia. It wants to be where it is. It doesn't want to move, or it may even want to slide back. It is lazy. And obviously, this will not get us anywhere. And despite the successes I have had in my professional life, I was in this state of Muda for a long time, actually, and I'm not ashamed to admit to that. Let me also share a little bit about my journey after my professional life. At the peak of my professional life, I walked away from my profession and became a full-time student of spirituality. And in the process, I have learned many inner transformational skills that help me, because in my life I have experienced many stresses and anxieties. I was in this Muda state for long periods of time, state of inertia, depression, probably some of you or even many of you may be experiencing those states of mind, and I learned many inner transformational skills that help me heal from the inside out, to heal my body, physical body, heal my mind, heal my soul. Because you know what, many of us are carrying so many internal wounds within us. We are not even aware of the internal wounds that we are carrying, and that all of that requires a very healing touch that only we can provide. So I was fortunate enough to be the last almost 2 decades I spent as a full-time student of spirituality. I spent my time in the corporate world as well as in the spiritual world. So I'm sharing with my experience that when we practice these internal transformational skills, whether it, what do I mean by internal transformational skills? It is practices like conscious breathing or meditation or mindfulness. We can really heal ourselves and transform our states of mind. And that is exactly what I want to talk about, because we need to understand our states of mind and to see how we can shift from one state of mind to another. So the first state of mind is the Muda state. The second state of mind is the Kshipta state. In the Kshipta state, the mind is extremely restless and it is distracted and totally out of control. Our thoughts are out of control. Our emotions are out of control, and we are just reacting impulsively to everything that is presented in our life, and we are in a relatively low state of vibration. That is the Kshipta state. We are not at all finding peace. It is like the constant tossing and turning of the mind, right? That is the Kshipta state of mind. The third state of mind is Vikshipta. Vikshipta is the opposite of Kshipta, where the mind is relatively calm and it is really preoccupied with something, whether it is the work that we are doing, whether it is that book that we are writing. And many philosophers and creative people are in this state of mind, Vikshipta. It is a more refined state of mind. And what we are preoccupied can either be in the positive direction or in the negative direction. And here is the unfortunate thing: even though the mind is the most powerful instrument that we have access to, it cannot distinguish between the positive and the negative. It is only our awareness that can distinguish between it is only our intellect that can distinguish between the positive and the negative. The mind is very powerful. It can just go do anything. I often compare mind is like a energy force, right? Let us just take fire as an example. Fire is a potent energy. You can use fire either for constructive purposes, for cooking, or you can use fire to burn down something, do something destructive with fire. Does fire care? No, it just goes about does its thing. And our mind is exactly the same thing. So Vikshipta is the state of being preoccupied. So if we are preoccupied with something, at least let us make sure that we are preoccupied with how to reach that top state, or how to have peace in our mind and have good relationships with the family. Because if we are preoccupied with worry, with all of our problems, and if our mind is on the problems, if we are preoccupied with the problems, they manifest more and more. So we have to be very careful in the Vikshipta state, right? Now, what is the fourth state of mind? The fourth state of mind is the ekagra, where the mind comes to a single point of focus. It is entirely just like when we focus those rays of sun into a single beam, ekagra, and maintained it. Ekagra is that state where it really doesn't budge from the subject. This is what is being called as the state of flow. In people in the US or Europe or Japan, they talk about the state of flow. This is really the state of ekagra that our ancient rishis and sages enunciated thousands of years ago. The state of ekagra. Right? And finally, the fifth state is the state of niruddha, where the mind is completely mastered and restrained. It is the ultimate state. So, for these five are the states, going from the gross level to the more refined level: Muda, Kshipta, Vikshipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. Now, if we want to take our life, our career, our profession, and for that matter, any area of our life, financial life, everything, if we want to take a exponential path, the first three states of the mind will not do. At most they may take us into a linear path, sometimes dropping down, sometimes progressing, but really it is the fourth and the fifth states of mind, and more specifically the fourth state of mind, ekagra. The word itself is so beautiful. And there is a beautiful story from our ancient scriptures, from the Mahabharata, that many of you may be familiar with. You may remember the story of the 100 Kauravas and the 5 Pandavas when they were children. Their guru was Dronacharya, who was teaching them the skills of warfare and specifically archery. And he got all of them into a contest one day, and the story goes like this. He is calling one after another and asking them to take that bow. He put a bird, a stuffed bird, up on the tree, and he said, okay, can you shoot the eye of the bird? He called student number one. And the student says, yeah, I can do that. Now take aim. Dronacharya says, but don't release the arrow unless I give you the command. Okay, the student takes aim at the bird, or rather the bird's eye, and the guru asks him, what do you see? Do you see the bird? And he says, yes. What else do you see? Oh, I see the trees, I see the branches. What else? What do you hear? I hear, all the birds sound. I hear your voice. I hear the sound of all the 100 other boys right here. Okay, Dronacharya says, no, don't release the arrow. Step aside, calls another one and another one and another one, and it is exactly the same thing. I can see this, I can see that. And even the Pandavas fail, even though they are able to narrow down their focus and say, I can see the bird and nothing else but the bird, but still no permission is given. And finally, Arjuna is called, and he's asked the same question, what do you see? I see only the eye of the bird. What else do you see? Do you see? Well, I see nothing. Don't you see the bird? No, I don't see the bird. Don't you see the branches? No, I don't see the branches. I only see the bird, the eye of the bird. And that is when Dronacharya knew that it was Arjuna who had that state of mind, that ekagra. So that is the state of mind that really puts us on the exponential path. But the question you may be asking is, Venkat, you're taking the example of Arjuna, but can we also get to the state of ekagra? Absolutely, it is within us. We are having the exact same mind that Arjuna had, and it is possible for each and every one of us to reach consistently the states of ekagra or even niruddha. And when we do that, it is only a matter of training and practicing, learning and practicing. We can get to that state. It is just like any other skill. We learn so many skills in our life, but how about learning and, more importantly, practicing the skill of concentration, of focus? Because when we do that, if you imagine your mind to be the surface of the water in an ocean, and if you imagine whatever you had mentioned, that is required to take us to the next level, to progress in our profession. Some of you said skill is required, some of you said knowledge and concept, or rather communication skills and everything. If you imagine that to be a boat, and if you imagine the mind to be the water on which that boat is traveling, what happens if the water is all choppy and it is stormy? If the mind is like a ocean with turbulent waters, with wind blowing, with storms coming, if the mind is in that state, even all of the skill, that boat is likely to crash, right? Even with all the skill. So stability of the mind, that is the most important base. Now, however, if the mind is really calm, and is, the everything else, that boat of your skill or your communications or your knowledge or your degrees can take us so much further. So it is only when we are able to come into a state of ekagra that we can really take that exponential path, right? So let me ask you, how many of you would like to take that quantum leap forward is the way for me to go, and we will go through how exactly you can learn. I will share, in the next few minutes I'm going to share very simple techniques in which you can get there. But here is the poll. A, if you want to take quantum leap forward, and that is the way that you want to go, click on A. Or B, if no linear path is okay for me. Or C, if you are not sure. A or B or C. A or B or C. Okay, great. Thank you. So I am ending the poll, and I'm happy to say that 88, nearly 90% of you here want to take that quantum leap forward. I am glad that, and a few of you are not sure, and that is perfectly fine. I totally understand that. But the takeaway is 90% of you here want to take that quantum leap. How do you take that quantum leap? By learning how to, rather, by learning and practicing focus and concentration. And how do you do that? The way you do that, let us look into that right now. The way that you learn and practice focus and concentration is, first, and these are very, very simple tips that you can practice in your everyday life. Some of the things that I mentioned may appear to be so simple that you might say, oh my god, I already know this, which is good. So the first thing is, make sure that you have a regulated lifestyle, and this is extremely important. A regulated lifestyle, regular waking hours, sleeping hours, regular patterns of when we eat and all of that, when we regular, because most people, we do not have a regulated lifestyle, unfortunately. But this has such an important bearing on the state of our mind, that it actually makes a huge difference. So that is the first tip, to have a regulated lifestyle. Okay. The second thing is, do only one thing at a time and remove distractions. Many of us, we think that we can be more efficient by trying to work on many different things at the same time. But you know what? As sophisticated as the mind may be, as powerful as the mind may be, it can only do one thing at a time. And we should not really switch context between one and another. We have to remove distractions and only do one thing at a time. And after that is done, move on to the next thing. And when you do that, that is a practice that you can do all your waking hours, whichever activity that you're doing, right? Only do that activity, and that helps us in improving and practicing. So every waking minute is an opportunity for you to practice concentration, and whatever we practice, we become good at it. And if we are practicing distraction all the time, we get extremely good at distraction. But if we practice concentration, we become good at concentration, right? The third is pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha bhavana is a simple technique that you can focus on, that you can practice. What does pratipaksha bhavana mean? Remember, we talked about awareness, how we can observe our thoughts and know when we are, for example, in a negative frame of mind. The moment we become aware that, hey, I'm going through some stress, I'm going through some anxiety, or I'm in an angry state, or I'm really my energy levels are down, and my mind is not working, those kind of negative states, the moment we become aware of that, pratipaksha bhavana is the process of implanting the exact opposite thought in the mind, even if we do not believe it. For example, if I recognize that I'm angry, I'm aware, I'm observing that I'm angry, I simply give the counter thought, I am peaceful, I'm peaceful. Even though I'm angry, I just telling myself I'm peaceful. So you're implanting the exact opposite thought, and that really shakes the mind out of its current patterns. And the mind is very simple thing, because it cannot hold contrary thoughts at the same time. And therefore, if you consciously implant that opposing thought, pratipaksha bhavana, pratipaksha means opposing, bhavana means the thought or the feeling or the emotion. If you consciously plant that, that will help you in your focus and in your concentration, right? What is the fourth thing? The fourth thing is, for those of you who have yogasana practices, this intensify your practice. And for those of you who do not have yogasana practice, my suggestion is to take that, because that really helps in focus and concentration. The fifth thing is conscious breathing, and I will talk about conscious breathing. Conscious breathing is something that has the most direct impact on your focus and on your concentration. And meditation is a very, very important aspect of focus and concentration. So these are the six things. So let me talk a little bit more about, the last three really are what I call inner transformational or holistic practices. And I'm going to talk about what conscious breathing is, and about meditation. But first, let me ask a question, one more question. Do you have currently holistic practices? What I mean by that is, are you practicing conscious breathing, also called pranayama, and yogasanas and meditation, and you have been practicing it regularly for the last 30 days, for example? If so, click on A. Yes, I spend my time on many or all of the holistic practices regularly. If you haven't been regular in the last month, click on B. If you have at least one practice, or if you do not currently have any holistic practices, click on C. A or B or C, and I am going to end the poll and share the results. Here are the results. 54% people here said that they do not have any holistic practices, and a minority, about 20% of you, congratulations, you have regular holistic practices. And about 25% of you have a holistic practice, and but are not practicing it regularly, which is and For those of you especially that you do not have holistic practices, I completely understand that, because we are so busy in trying to meet the challenges of everyday life, that we do not make time or find time for all of that. But these are the things that help us get to that levels of focus and concentration that are so required for us to take that quantum leap. Now, I'm using the term conscious breathing. What does conscious breathing mean? Right? We are all breathing every minute of our life. From the time that we were born to the time that we exit out of that body, we are breathing each and every minute. But the question is, are we breathing only to keep ourselves alive? You know, there is a incredible power to breath. There is a incredible vital energy to breath that most of us are not conscious about. There is such a power of breath that we are not even coming anywhere close to harnessing the power of breath. Conscious breathing is the process in which we learn how to harness the power of breath. And for those of you who are new to me, I talk about conscious breath in a different webinar, where I talk about how by adopting conscious breath practices, it really helps us have a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a soul where we are feeling so connected with ourselves, because conscious breath practices are used by doctors to help their patients. And we do not have a direct control over our mind. Absolutely not. It is so difficult. Try as much as you want. I mean, you can win the whole world over. You can earn $1 billion, but we cannot really learn how to tame the mind directly. But here is the good news. The state of mind, you might have noticed that our state of mind affects our breath. For example, when we are stressed or anxious or angry, the breath is shallow. It is really fast and irregular. So our state of mind has a direct impact on our breath. But are you aware that our breath, the way that we breathe, also has a excuse me, direct impact on the state of our mind? And we have control over how we can breathe, and therefore through our breath we can control our mind, we can control our thoughts, we can control our emotions, we can really let the mind go, let the mind take us where we want to. It is like you use your car to take you to your destination. You are not your car. Car is something at your disposal. Mind is also something that is at our disposal. If we learn how to control the mind through our breath, through the holistic practices, and meditate, and focus and concentration has such a direct relationship with conscious breathing, because when you are doing the conscious breathing, what are you doing? You are practicing concentration. So it goes both ways. And when you're doing conscious breath, not only are you practicing concentration, but you're actually learning, keeping your body healthy, keeping your mind healthy, and your soul happy. And meditation, obviously, in the practice of meditation, we are focusing on one single thing only for extended periods of time, and that is a practice of concentration. And when you are able to do these holistic practices, that really helps propel your focus and your concentration, not to speak about having a healthy body, mind, and soul. So obviously, I cannot talk about exactly how to reach there. And for that, I am really happy to be offering a 7-day journey. Many of you have said, you have expressed that you want to take the quantum path to reaching there, and I'm very happy to share a 7-day program, a live program with me, I mean, right now I cannot see you, but in those 7 days where we spend 75 minutes every single day for 7 days, I will be able to see you and we will go through these holistic practices. And at the end of 7 days, you will be equipped with many of these holistic practices that help you immensely in your practice of concentration. So let me share about that program. And the program is, I have called it Yogic Breath for a Healthy Body, Mind, and Soul. Yogic Breath for Healthy Body, Mind, and Soul. And the reason I call it as a yogic breath is because it is coming from the ancient yogic traditions, ancient yogic sciences. Whenever we hear the term yoga, we often tend to think about yogasanas. That is a very important aspect of yoga, but there are many other aspects like pranayama, like meditation and pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, all of that, right? So, yogic breath for healthy body, mind, and soul, 7 day program where we meet live each day and we learn and practice many of these holistic practices, because these holistic practices like conscious breath and meditation and mindfulness and conscious relaxation, they form that bedrock for having a proper focus and concentration, right? So before I share the details of that program, I'm very proud to share a testimonial given by Dr. Atul Shah, who is a practicing cardiologist for the last 41 years. And he recently took my 7 day program, and he said, after taking my program, he said, in his own words, I realized that conscious breathing is one of the most important skills for our emotional stability, because without emotional stability, it is not possible to avoid any lifestyle diseases. And I am very I feel so happy in my heart to see these words coming from a um, renowned authority. So, what is included in the program? What is included in the program? Like I said, oh, it is a 7 day program, by the way. I must really say sorry. Here it says the dates are November 1st and 15th, but the dates are really a 7 day program starting on the 15th of November and another program starting on the 29th of November. So I do a 1 week program every alternate week. I start it on a Monday and end on a Sunday. So the next batch is starting on Monday, 15th of November, and the batch after that is starting on the 29th of November. And in this program, we are meeting for 75 minutes. I really need to update my slides. We meet from 6:45 to 8 in the morning. So we meet for 75 minutes in the program. And uh, there is a preparatory onboarding live session 2 days prior to the start of the program on Saturday at 8 p.m. And the intent of that program is to prepare you in the body and in the mind so that you can derive the maximum benefit out of this 7 day program. So it is a live program as well. And there is going to be a WhatsApp group that is specific to the batch, and that helps in your interaction with me. Because in the 75 minutes that we meet every day, we are going to do a lot of practices, and I'm also going to give some assignments, offline assignments, which take maybe 5 or 10 minutes during the day. And the WhatsApp group is the forum for you to ask any questions, interact with me. So, very briefly, it is a 7 day program. Each day I meet you for 75 minutes, 6:45 to 8 o'clock in the morning. There is a batch starting on 15th of November, 15th to 21st November. And the batch after that is November 29th to December 5th. And there is going to be a live preparatory meeting 2 days prior to the program. and you will be part of a Facebook group. Now, the question many of you may be having is, okay, Venkat, how do I join this program? And I'm going to come into that. But from my perspective, I really feel that what we all need to do, remember, many of you said that you want to take that exponential path, and what is really required for that exponential path is a healthy body, a healthy mind, and knowing how to focus, knowing how to concentrate, having that discipline. These are the underlying skills, these are the underpinnings, the stable mind. When we have that, then rest everything, it just comes. So that is exactly what I'm going to share with you during the 7 days. And from that perspective, it does require an investment of 75 minutes every single day for 7 days. Not that big of an investment on your part. And it also requires a investment in terms of money, because I mean, frankly, I feel that whatever you invest for gaining these uh, inner transformational skills and practices is invaluable, because it gives you returns over and over again. But we have to put a money value on that, a money exchange value. And I want to make this program accessible to as many people as possible. And therefore, I have kept it for the webinar participants at a modest 750 rupees only. 750 rupees only, and you can avail of all of that. And I am going to, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about exactly when you join this program, what is it that you can look forward to, what is it that you're going to learn, how is the class going to be. I'm going to answer each and every aspect of that. And I already see that some of you are having questions about the program, and whatever questions that you may have, please type it into the chat. And even those watching on YouTube, please do send them in the chat, and I'll be sure to address each and every question. But before I go into exactly what is it that you're going to learn in these 7 days, let me share the links. Let me share the links. There are two links. One is a link. Okay, here is the link for joining the November 15th to 21st batch, and I'm sharing the link in Zoom as well as in live stream for those watching on YouTube and Facebook. And let me share the second link, which is for the batch that is starting on the 29th of November through 5th of December. So here is that link. So you have both the links here. All right, so these are the two links. Either you can join November 15th to 21st or 29th to December 5th for an investment of 750 rupees, which will give you 7 live days where we meet one-on-one, or rather in a small group, for 75 minutes, 6:45 to 8 o'clock in the morning. And we go through many practices, and I will talk about that. But let me also mention, since we are in a live webinar, I'm going to keep this offer open only for the next 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, we are going to close the webinar and close the offer. So those of you who are thinking of whether to join the program, not join the program, just think from the perspective of whether you want to take that quantum leap, develop these skills of focus and practicing concentration or not, what it means to you. And so let us, and for those of you who are still thinking, let me answer. Some of you have been asking, okay, yes, you can also pay by, I'm going to answer each and every question. You can also pay by Google Pay. Let me share the link for the Google Pay. Actually, if you follow the InstaMojo link, it also gives you an option to scan the QR code and pay by Google Pay. When you pay by InstaMojo, you do have that option. But if you want to directly pay through Google Pay, let me share the link here. Uh, Here is the QR codes for Google Pay or Phone Pay, and note down the telephone number. When you pay through InstaMojo, you're going to get a auto reply with the Zoom information and the link to join the WhatsApp chat. But if you are paying through the mobile phone, make sure you take a screenshot of your payment and send a WhatsApp message to the telephone number that you see on the screen and indicate whether you want to start on the November 15th batch or the November 29th batch. So I hope you have taken that down. Okay, let me send the link again in the chat. So here is the link. By the way, here is the link for the November 29th to December 5th branch. And let me share the link for November 15th to 21st. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And I will also cover exactly what it is that you are going to learn. And let me remind you that we are in the last 17 minutes of this offer being open. So with that, let me quickly share, actually, even before I share what I'm going to cover in these 7 days. I'm so proud to share yet another testimonial, and many of you may be familiar with Praveen Vadalkar, and he is my mentor in helping me launch myself into this digital world. I myself, after I left my profession back in 2005, for the last 16, 17 years, I have been totally away on an inward journey, and it is just now that I'm coming out. So these are, and he has been helping me launch myself, and he has actually taken this course that I'm offering you. We did a one-on-one so that he gets familiar with that, and it is his testimonial after taking my yogic breath program. In his words, I have an increased focus and energy. My empty mind chatter has stopped, and it is that empty mind chatter which leads us to distractions, which leads into a dissipated mind. And he said, my empty mind chatter has stopped, and I feel a deeper connection with my inner self. I now have more time because I look forward to waking up early every day to do my sadhana. And I'm so happy that Praveen Vadalkar has got positive results, and he is a successful entrepreneur. He has reached to levels that many of us are aspiring for, and he has found my program to be helpful, and I'm very grateful for him to say this. So let me now share what is it that you are going to learn and practice. We are going to learn the essential conscious breath practices. And like I said, conscious breath practices are going to give you a healthy body, mind, and soul. And it is going to help you immensely in focusing and concentrating, because that is exactly what we are doing. What we practice, we become good at. So that is what we are going to learn. And I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on the foundational and incremental building blocks. I'm very particular that people learn everything in the proper and rigorous way, not just in a piecemeal fashion, but in an integrated fashion, and learn really the in-depth text, not just go to YouTube and take a video. By the way, there are many great videos, but everything is a piecemeal approach, and unless we build that right foundation, we cannot really effectively do those practices. So I spent quite a bit of time on that, and we are going to predominantly be focused on the practices accompanied only by the necessary theory that is needed. So, with that said, let me actually cover what is it that you are going to learn. By the way, any of you have any questions about the program, feel free to. By the way, Rupesh, you asked for InstaMojo links. Have you seen the links? I published them, put them in the chat. If yes, say yes. Okay, great. And so you are going to learn conscious breath practices or pranayama practices, but which directly helps in increasing the focus and concentration. But in addition to that, I take you to through a very deep and effective meditation practice, an incremental meditation practice, and that helps us immensely in developing our focus and concentration, because each day during the 75 minutes we are actually going to spend a reasonable amount of time in learning and practicing meditation, and at the end of 7 days you will have a very good meditation practice. And in addition to that, you will also learn the proper relaxation techniques for healing the body and the mind, because unless the body and the mind are completely, totally relaxed, we cannot be in a focused and concentrated state of mind. Now, you may be asking, Venkat, what do you mean by proper relaxation? I'm already getting my full night's sleep of 6 hours or 8 hours. I'm already resting my body and mind. And for that, my answer is not really. We actually need to know how to properly relax, because even when the body is sleeping, when we are sleeping, the body is still working, the mind is still working over time. And when we wake up, at least in my experience, for periods of time in my life, I used to wake up fully stressed out and tired and lethargic. And perhaps some of you may be having those experiences as well. So we learn how to do the proper relaxation. So we learn conscious breathing, we learn meditation, proper relaxation, and we also learn how to practice mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is being completely focused and aware of each and everything that we are doing without any distractions. And when we do that, every activity that we do is an occasion for us to practice concentration. Even if that activity is just brushing teeth, a mundane activity, or maybe it is an activity related to your work, or an activity that is when you're communicating with your loved ones, or when you're communicating with your own self. How many times we are so distracted that we hardly know what we did in the 5 minutes. We do it so mechanically, right? We will go into that practice. So all these holistic practices, when you combine conscious breath with meditation, with conscious relaxation, with mindfulness, these are the tools that give us a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a peaceful soul. And these are the things that help us in developing that unflickering focus and unprecedented concentration. So, if every one of you who said that what is required to achieve your goals, your visions in life is an exponential path, and every one of you who said that you would like to take an exponential path, here is an opportunity for you. Come, join, make an investment of your time, because for us to learn anything we need to invest our time, and it needs an investment of some money. In this case, a modest $750. 50 rupees for a 7-day live program with me, meeting 75 minutes, where I take you through all of these practices. At the end of 7 days, you will be equipped and skilled in many of these practices, which will give you returns over your lifetime. So with that, let me answer any questions that you may have. And every one of you who have joined, type a I in the chat. I have already seen some messages. Gurvinder, welcome to the program. I see Sukhbir Kumar also paid, and I see many more I's coming in. And if you have already joined, great. I see Dr. Rajgiri and Shakti. Okay, thank you all for joining. Great. Welcome you to this program. Let me answer some questions that you may be having. So, Shakti is asking, are the recordings available for this program? Yes, each day in the orientation program and in the 7 days program, I do the recording, and I will make the recordings available to you for a period of time. So I hope every one of you who join the program that you attend the program live so that you can interact with me. But for some reason, if you're not able to attend the live program, or if you're work schedule doesn't allow you to, the recordings are available and you can go through the recording. So I hope that answers your question. And now let me look at other questions that you are having. Let me scroll through. Yes, so I hope that Shakti, that answers your question. Now, all right, great. And there is a question from Pankaj about, most of the time we are not able to focus on one thing. That time, what should we do to continue our focus? Pankaj, are you still there? I would be happy to answer your question, Pankaj's question. And Manish, I'm going to come to your question also about whether it helps in diabetes control. I'm going to come to that in a moment. Let me answer Pankaj's question. Pankaj, are you still there? If so, type yes in the chat. So, to your question, whether you're not able to uh, maintain the focus for a sustained period of time, it only comes when you practice concentration. You practice concentration, you get concentration. How do you practice concentration? By learning these holistic skills. You know, in the not so distant times, in Japan, Zen masters used to teach their students martial arts. Even today, martial arts are being taught to people, uh, not necessarily to go and fight with someone, but because it helps in concentration. And here, the skills that we are learning in the program that I'm offering, through pranayama, through meditation, through conscious relaxation and mindfulness practice, absolutely. All the time during the 75 minutes, every day, 75 minutes, we are practicing what? Concentration. The second answer is, I'm practicing meditation, I'm practicing conscious breathing, which helps me have a healthy body, mind, and soul. But primarily, you're actually practicing concentration. Whatever you practice, you get good at. So I hope it answers your question, Pankaj. Great. Um, Manish, your question is, will this program help in diabetes control? So let me actually take some time to answer that question. By the way, we are coming to a close. We are in the last 8 or 9 minutes, and I'm going to close the webinar. But this is a very important question. Manish, let me ask you, have you attended my webinar on harness your breath to master your life, Manish? If you have, Okay, if you have not attended that, I think I will be having that webinar next week. Probably, I do not know yet, but in that program, I have spent quite a bit of time in the focus is on how breath, conscious breath helps us in the physical body, in the mind, and in the soul. But the short answer to your question is yes, it helps in diabetes. And in fact, doctors around the world are using conscious breath practices to treat many conditions which involve, some of those conditions, fatigue, chronic body pains, diabetes, BP, heart-related conditions, all of that. Essentially, the base is to have that healthy body and conscious breath. The way it works on your cardiovascular system and on the lymphatic system, it changes, it has a positive impact at a cellular level, and therefore, yes, it is a practice. When you do it for, consistently over a period of time, it is going to help in many ways. Yes. So I hope that answers your question. Dr. Rajagiri, does it help you in controlling high BP? Absolutely, it helps in controlling high BP. Now, there, because you know why? Uh, when we do the conscious breath practices, it is activating the parasympathetic nervous system. We are often in a stressful condition. We are in a fight or flight mode. And this has not changed from our ancient caveman ancestors. They were also in a constant fight or flight mode because their whole thing was survival from the elements, survival from the cold, from the wild animals, from the other tribes. They were constantly in the fight or flight mode. And even after millions of years, even today, we are in a fight or flight mode. And when we are in a fight or flight mode, we are stressed. When we are stressed, everything kind of shoots up, and we need to learn how to consciously relax, how to consciously breathe in order to activate the sympathetic nervous system. So yes, it does help. There are certain breath practices where we have to exercise a little bit of caution when we do that, when we have high blood pressure, but otherwise, they are very helpful. And meditation and the conscious relaxation, all of these are going to have a very positive effect on BP. I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other questions? We are going to end the webinar. By the way, those of you who have joined, type a I. I know not the ones who have already said I, but so that I know who is coming into the program. Type I in the chat, or if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. Okay, I am coming to your question. Boy, okay, yes. Okay, let me come to your question, Madhav. Madhav, the question that you have asked is, um, at the end of 7 days, uh, at the end of 7 days, what are we going to get? I am going to take you through a step-by-step process and take you to a certain stage. And at the end of 7 days, I'm going to give you two audio tapes. One audio tape that you can listen and practice along with my voice after the end of the 7 days. That is a morning practice that takes you through breath practices and meditation practices. And I will also give you a audio tape to be practiced at night time just before going to sleep. It takes only 15 minutes. It is a combination of one specific breath practice that really helps us have a good night's sleep, relieves us of our stress, and a meditation practice that really helps us have a very peaceful sleep. So yes, you are going to get these two bonus gifts from me when you join the 7 day program. So all right, Manish, welcome into the program. And for those of you who are having the ability to join, that is, if 750 rupees is not going to shake your financial foundations, if 750 rupees is not going to is something that you can afford, and if you want to take an exponential path and you want to realize your life visions, and if you have not joined yet, my question to you is why? Inviting you to come here. Hey, take this journey, try it out, take me on, and see what a transformation it makes. But you need to have that internal commitment that you want to reach somewhere, that you want to learn these uh, holistic practices, not just for reaching somewhere. Reaching somewhere is a byproduct, really. I'm by no means am I going to say guaranteed you're going to reach that. No, I'm not going to make that kind of a sales pitch. What I'm saying is these are the essential skills that will take you there. But more important than that is that it actually gives us a sense of connection with our inner self, a healthier body, a healthier mind, and really elevates our consciousness. So if this speaks to you, you still have the chance of joining the program. Now, we have spent almost the last 1 hour and 40 minutes together, and I hope you have found this program helpful. Type in the chat yes if you, whether you have joined or not. If you have found the last 90 minutes valuable, just type yes. I would like to hear from you before I close the chat. Great. Good. Thank you for all your responses. If you found it helpful, just type yes in the chat. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. And let me just say this. I am closing this in the next 60 seconds. I want to thank each and every one of you who is in this webinar. We spent the last 100 minutes together. This is the way the universe has connected us. And for every one of you who have decided not to join the program, I respect that and hope our paths cross at some time. But I also urge you to, in your own way, in your own time, learn these holistic practices that is going to really take the quality of your life to the next level. Whether you sign up with me or not, that is immaterial. I wish only the best for you, and I hope you take the time for your own inner self. And I wish you all the best. And for every one of you who have joined, thank you so much. I'm excited that you have joined. I am looking forward for this inner transformational journey, because these are the types of journeys that create that change from inside out. So glad that you have made the decision. Thank you for joining. And to every one of you who is in the webinar today, I want to say, have a great day and a wonderful life. May you reach your full potential. Namaste to everyone.